April 6th, 1917. I leaned over the gallery rail and watched her, said her friend Harriet Laidlaw, of the Woman Suffrage Party. She was undergoing the most terrible strain. Almost all of her fellow suffrage leaders, including Laidlaw, wanted her to vote yes. There was a silence when her name was called. "I want to stand by my country," Rankin said, "but I cannot vote for war. I vote no." 50 other members of the House voted no with her. 374 voted yes. "I felt," she said later, "that the first time the first woman had a chance to say no to war, she should say it." One of her home state papers, the Helena Independent, called her a dupe of the Kaiser, a member of the Hun army in the United States, and a crying schoolgirl. A young pro-war preacher, Harry Emerson Fosdick, wrote a short book published by the Young Men's Christian Association. War wasn't gallantry and parades anymore, Reverend Fosdick said. War is now dropping bombs from aeroplanes and killing women and children in their beds. It is shooting by telephonic orders at an unseen place miles away and slaughtering invisible men. War, he said, is men with jaws gone, eyes gone, limbs gone, minds gone. Fosdick ended his book with a call for enlistment. "Your country needs you," he said. It was November 1917. Meyer London, a socialist in the House of Representatives, voted no to President Wilson's second declaration of war against Austria-Hungary. It was December 7, 1917. "In matters of war, I'm a teetotaler," said London in a 15-minute speech. "I refuse to take the first intoxicating drink." Representative Walter Chandler walked over to where London sat and stood in front of him as he delivered his rebuttal. "It's been said that if you'll analyze the blood of a Jew under the microscope, you'll find the Talmud and the old Bible floating around in some particles," Congressman Chandler said. "If you analyze the blood of a representative German or Teuton, you'll find machine guns and particles of shells and bombs floating around in the blood." There was only one thing to do with the Teutons, according to Chandler. "Fight them until you destroy the whole bunch." Eleanor Roosevelt and her husband Franklin D., the Assistant Secretary of the Navy, were invited to a party in honor of Bernard Baruch, the financier. "I've got to go to the Harris party, which I'd rather be hung than seen at," Eleanor wrote her mother-in-law. "Mostly Jews." It was January 14th, 1918. A captured German officer was talking to a reporter for the New York Times. It was November 3rd, 1918, and the German government had asked for an armistice. The German officer claimed that his army was not defeated and should have continued the war. "The emperor is surrounded by people who feel and talk defeat," the officer said. He mentioned men like Philipp Scheidemann, the leader of the socialists. New tanks were coming, the captured officer observed, and war was expected between the United States and Japan. "Japan and the United States would surely clash some day," he said, "and we would then furnish both sides with enormous quantities of material and munitions." The ceding of Poland and Alsace-Lorraine, the officer believed, meant social upheaval, the ruin of German industry, and the impoverishment of the working class. "Our enemies will have what they've desired, the complete annihilation of Germany. That would be a peace due to Scheidemann." Winston Churchill, now England's Secretary of State for War and Air, rose in Parliament to talk about the success of the naval blockade. It was March 3rd, 1919, 4 months after the signing of the armistice that ended the Great War. "We're enforcing the blockade with rigor," Churchill said. "It is repugnant to the British nation to use this weapon of starvation, which falls mainly on the women and children, upon the old and the weak and the poor, after all the fighting has stopped. One moment